the deadliest race massacre in American history begins with two individuals, Dick Rowland and Sarah Page.
The Tulsa Race Massacre, also known as the Tulsa Race Riot or the Black Wall Street Massacre, was a devastating event in American history. It took place over 2 days, from May 31st to June 1st, 1921, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. During this time, white mobs attacked black residents and businesses in the Greenwood district, also known as Black Wall Street, one of the most prosperous African-American communities in the United States. The attackers burned down homes and businesses, destroying over 35 city blocks. The violence began after Dick Rowland, a 19-year-old black shoe shiner, was accused of attacking Sarah Page, a 17-year-old white elevator operator, on May 30th. The accusation came after Page screamed in an elevator and Rowland ran away. The police arrested Rowland the next day, and there were fears he might be lynched. In response to rumors of an impending lynching, a group of about 75 armed black men went to the jail to ensure Rowland's safety. The sheriff convinced them to leave, claiming he had the situation under control. However, as they were leaving, a confrontation between an elderly white man and a black veteran named O.B. Man over a gun escalated. A shot was fired, leading to a chaotic shootout. The black defenders were eventually outnumbered and forced back into the Greenwood district, marking the start of a brutal massacre that would become one of the worst incidents of racial violence in American history. After the shootout ended, 12 people were confirmed dead, including 10 white and 2 black individuals. Another account suggests that the gunfire started near the courthouse when black business owners tried to protect a black man from being attacked by about 6 white men. It seems this witness might not have realized this clash was part of an ongoing gunfight. For hours afterwards, white mobs, some officially armed and sanctioned by the city, unleashed violence against black residents. They shot an unarmed man in a cinema and spread the unfounded fear that a large-scale uprising was being planned by black residents, with some expecting reinforcements from towns with significant black populations. Armed confrontations between white and black groups continued, especially near the Frisco Railroad tracks, which separated the commercial areas of both communities. There was a false alarm that black reinforcements were arriving by train from Muskogee, leading to a tense situation where train passengers had to duck for cover as the train was caught in the crossfire. Small groups of white attackers drove through Greenwood, randomly shooting into homes and businesses and sometimes being shot at in return. They also started fires in buildings by throwing in burning oil rags, especially along Archer Street, the commercial heart of Greenwood, Bow. The violence even spread to middle-class white neighborhoods, where black people working as live-in cooks and servants were forcibly taken by white rioters to detention centers. Rioters demanded that the families turn in their employees or face dire consequences. Some white families complied, but those who refused faced attacks on their homes. By 1 a.m., the mob began arson attacks on Archer Street businesses. News of the attack spread among Greenwood residents, leading many to arm themselves in defense while others fled the city. Fighting continued through the night, breaking out sporadically in different areas. When the Tulsa Fire Department teams arrived to tackle the fires, they were forcefully turned away at gunpoint. Accounts from survivors like Scott Ellsworth and Mary E. Jones Parrish vary on the specifics, but the danger to firefighters was clear. By 4 a.m., around 24 businesses owned by black people had been set on fire. As the sun rose around 5 a.m., a loud whistle sound, identified by Hirsch as a siren, was heard. Some of the attackers took it as a signal to start a full-on attack on the Greenwood area. A white man who came out from behind the Frisco depot was immediately killed by a sniper from Greenwood. This prompted large groups of attackers, both on foot and in cars, to rush into the streets of Greenwood. The first group, including 5 white men in a car, was quickly shot down in a barrage of gunfire, not even making it a block into the area. Overcome by the huge number of attackers, the black residents of Greenwood Avenue were forced to flee towards the outskirts of town. Panic spread as people ran for their lives, with attackers shooting randomly and killing many in the process. The attackers split up, entering homes and buildings to steal what they could find. Witnesses later said that these rioters broke into houses where people were living, ordering them out onto the streets. They were then taken to detention centers, either by being made to walk or by being driven there. A false story circulated among the attackers that the new Mount Zion Baptist Church was being used as a stronghold and weapons storage. It was falsely claimed that 20 coffins full of rifles had been delivered to the church, but no proof of this was ever found. By the time the National Guard got there and Governor J.B.A. Robertson declared martial law just before midday, the violence had mostly stopped. While the National Guard did help extinguish fires, they also detained many black residents of Tulsa. By June 2nd, around 6,000 people were being held under armed watch at the local fairgrounds. After the riot, all accusations against Dick Rowland were dismissed. The police concluded he likely just bumped into Sarah Page and stepped on her foot by accident. He was kept safe in jail during the riot and left Tulsa the day after, never to return. The official death count from the Oklahoma Bureau of Vital Statistics was 36, a figure that was confirmed by a state commission in 2001, which found 26 were black and 10 were white. However, historians believe the actual number of deaths could be as high as 300. For many years, the Tulsa Race Massacre of May 31, June 1, 1921, went without any public recognition, memorials, or attempts to remember those who died. Instead, there was a clear attempt to hide what happened. The Tulsa Tribune even took out the front page story that had ignited the unrest from its archives, and researchers later found that records from the police and state militia about the event were missing. As a result, for a long time, the massacre was hardly mentioned in history books, not taught in schools, or even discussed publicly. It wasn't until a government commission was set up in the year following the event to investigate the massacre that the true scale of what happened began to be uncovered, including the discovery of many victims buried in unmarked graves. In 2001, the findings of this commission estimated that between 100 and 300 people died, and over 8,000 were left homeless due to the violence. Despite these shocking findings, an attempt in 2012 to pass a law requiring Oklahoma high schools to teach about the massacre was unsuccessful, with opponents arguing that the event was already covered in schools. The initial official tally recorded 10 white and 26 black deaths following the massacre, and although there was a brief investigation, important documents related to the event soon vanished. For a long time, this part of Oklahoma's history was conspicuously missing from the educational materials provided to the state's school children. In 1997, the state of Oklahoma established a commission to delve into the Tulsa Race Massacre and officially record what happened. This commission collected stories from survivors, accounts from witnesses who had since passed away, and other historical evidence. They used witness accounts and ground-penetrating radar near Tulsa's Oaklawn Cemetery to identify a likely mass grave, indicating that the death toll could be significantly higher than originally recorded. The commission formed to investigate the Tulsa Race Massacre suggested that the state of Oklahoma should compensate with $33 million in restitution, targeting the 121 survivors that had been identified. Despite this recommendation, made public on February 28, 2001, no action was taken by lawmakers, and the commission had no authority to enforce its suggestions. In a move to provide some support, the Tulsa Metropolitan Ministry, a private religious charity, managed to distribute $28,000 among the survivors in April 2002, amounting to just over $200 per person, thanks to private donations. To honor the memory of those affected by the massacre, the John Hope Franklin Reconciliation Park was opened in 2010 in the Greenwood District. The park is named after John Hope Franklin, a historian and civil rights activist whose father was among the massacre survivors. It features the Tower of Reconciliation, a sculpture that stands 25 feet tall and symbolizes the ongoing struggle of African Americans. Additionally, in 2021, the Greenwood Rising History Center was established by the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre Centennial Commission, which was created in 2015. This center is dedicated to commemorating Black Wall Street, memorializing the massacre's victims, and sharing their story. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more exciting content on Forgotten History.